In early 1949, around January, February of that year, the countries that neighbor Palestine signed what were called armistice agreements with the newly created State of Israel, with representatives of the Israeli government. Now, granted, the agreements all said in the text that their purpose is to restore peace to Palestine. But that was not the case. This is at the end of the massive campaign of ethnic cleansing, the Nakba, the defeat of the armies, the Arab armies that tried to come and defend Palestine somewhat. And not only were the Palestinians, facing this new horrific reality where their country was taken, destroyed, and they became a nation of refugees, but they did not even have representatives in the negotiations, in these agreements. The countries that signed the armistice, or what we call today ceasefire agreements, with the State of Israel were Lebanon and Syria in the north, the newly created Kingdom of Jordan, and Egypt. And it's very interesting because the country was called Palestine and referred to as Palestine within these agreements, but there are no Palestinian representatives. And this gave legitimacy to the existence of the State of Israel as the new owner, as the new boss of Palestine. Now, all these years later, we can see just how quickly it was that the State of Israel violated these agreements and every other agreement that was signed since. Israel violated the agreements with each and every one of these countries, with incursions and so forth. And then eventually in 1967, with this massive assault against its neighbors, took all the land that it wanted, the Golan Heights, the West Bank, the Gaza Strip, and so on. So discussing more ceasefire agreements with the State of Israel is like trying to repeat the same thing and expect different results. What is required now is an end to the genocide. And the genocide, by the way, that began then. It began in 1948, 47. Or I should say late 47, 48 is when the genocide began. It never ended. If you take a look at the description of the law that describes the crime of genocide, you can put a check mark next to every item and see how the State of Israel has made sure to fulfill each and every one of them. Not just now in Gaza, but going back 76 years. So signing more agreements in expectation that they will stop the genocide, that doesn't make any sense. Besides the fact that a ceasefire is not the appropriate response to genocide. Can anybody in their wildest imagination imagine asking Hitler to agree to the terms of a ceasefire while he is murdering millions of people in Europe, Jews and others? Of course not. As we shouldn't be able to even envision anything like that. The State of Israel needs to face severe sanctions, an arms embargo, a naval blockade, closure of every diplomatic mission around the world. I said severe sanctions, I'll say it again. Boycotting the State of Israel in all arenas. There need to be severe consequences for the State of Israel so that the killing will stop immediately and forever. Forever. And a political solution needs to be demanded. A political solution needs to be put in place that will end the suffering of Palestinians, end the apartheid regime, end the genocide, and a process that will begin the creation of a free democratic Palestine between the river and the sea, between the River Jordan and the Mediterranean Sea, which will finally allow the people who live in historic Palestine to live in peace.